What I want you to do is, we're going to do some kitchen research. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand on a couple questions. How many of you have ever owned a BlackBerry? BlackBerry phone. BlackBerry? Okay, there you go. Well, that's one of the things we're going to talk about. Almost the entire room raised their hand on BlackBerry. How many people have a BlackBerry right now? Decent number, okay, holding on to them. Even though the company is in a death spiral, but may be coming back with a BlackBerry 10, right? How many people have Android, iPhone, Windows 8, or any other major phone? That's a big number. That's winds of change. That's the shifting dynamics of what's going on. Just one example, smartphones and what's happened in the last 5 years. So the winds of change, I'd love to say that it's this easy. 3 boats cruising across the Sound, having a nice day. Well, I'm sorry, that's not the way it's been the last 5 years, and it won't get any better. This is what's really going on. It is torrential. It is challenging. It's not easy with all the dynamics going on. It's also unforgiving. It'll dump you upside down. Business models, Kodak was mentioned earlier. Business models, industries completely obsoleted by iPhone, Android, other things, Amazon.com. So there are things that are going on that are really pretty disruptive. Kodak, another example, is Sam Goody and also FYE. You know, when was the last time you went in and bought a CD? Also, it can be pretty challenging if you are Ron Johnson at JCPenney or Barnes & Noble cutting back on stores and trying to compete with a Nook. Another example, you've got Zinnia, very successful with Farmville game, making billions of dollars, and all of a sudden the new product pipeline slows down and all of a sudden it's having its challenges. RIM, we know the problem that's going on there, and Groupon. You should have taken the money and run at the time when they had it. This is the CEO of Abercrombie, and I was at a Villanova panel, and I posed a question. It was all CEOs like this, C-suite. I said, excuse me, after everybody had talked about financing and expansion and global, I said, wait, excuse me, how are you doing with social media? So he steps forward and he goes, I gotta be really honest. And I had said to him, 40, 50, 60-year-old executives, how are they doing with social media? He said, we're not doing well at all. So as I quizzed him a little bit more, it turns out that above age 30, everybody's challenged in his company about what do you do with social media. I said, how are you on mobile and a few other things? He said, we're not good at it. Now, he's responsible for a company that markets to young adults. They're all about fashion and style, and they're challenged. How do you think the woman next to him, the CEO of Sunoco, was doing if I asked her about social media? So my point here is executives are challenged. The things are shifting, and they don't know how to deal with them. And they're trying, but it's really not easy. At his company, shortly thereafter, Robert Hansen came in as CEO out of Levi's, one of my longtime clients, very progressive, but bringing the kind of skills that you need, what I call Business 3.0, mobile, social, e-tail, cloud, other things that are really progressive that change the business model. So my focus is on helping you to shift your game. Your clients are shifting their game. Your candidates should be shifting their game. So instead of looking for everyday candidates, the profile you've normally followed, what about those candidates that are inclined towards Business 3.0? And I'll show you what I mean by that. Because those are candidates that are leading the way that you'll have a better hit rate on. And at the same time, your own business model, your company, your style, your operating approach, is it heading towards Business 3.0? Because if you're 2.0, you're on the verge of being obsolete sometime in the next couple years. Now, who is this guy that's up here talking about this? I've been a CEO, president, CMO, Fortune 500 companies to startups, had a leading innovation company that was actually purchased by one of the big mega agencies. So my background is about building brands, innovation, future car concepts, helping CEOs, et cetera. But I reinvented myself about 5 years ago. I was 55 years old and I said, I'm really kind of bored. I could be obsolete like many of my peers in their 50s or 60s. How do I shift my game? My passion's always been taking technology, crossing it with marketing and innovation, and driving the hell out of businesses. So I started doing apps, working with Apple, Facebook, other companies, and I ended up becoming president of the largest mobile social gaming app company out of Bangalore, India. 500 employees plus another 100 around the world, creating hundreds of solutions on the front edge of what was going on. I did that for a couple of years, and I shifted my game. So I'm going to ask you this question. If you look at this chart up there, where are you on the scale? Where's your company? Where are your clients? Where are your candidates? If you look to the left, what you're seeing at 2.0, that's Microsoft, that's browsers, that's websites, web pages, that's legacy systems. It's business as usual the way it's been for 19, 20 years. Yes, that's how long browsers have been around in Microsoft, et cetera. 3.0 is digital, mobile, social, real-time speed. It's mobile checkout, salesforce.com, BYOD, bring your own device, and it's big data. That's where it's all going. So the challenge here is, how do you get past that, the status quo? I'm with a CEO, we're talking. He goes, we're committed to it. We want to be out there doing all these different things. He said, this has been a great meeting. We're excited about you helping us. We're walking out, and his secretary goes, you know, Mr. So-and-so, here are your emails. And she hands him 50 pages of outputted emails in paper. Now, you know, it's a little hard to be committed on one hand to innovation in the next generation. And by the way, he doesn't read his own emails. He sees them in outputted paper. So that's status quo. The true leadership, if you look back here, you've got Google, you've got Yahoo, Marissa Meyer, you've got Zuckerberg, and you've got Bezos. This is the C-suite 3.0. So that's leadership. That's where you want to go, that kind of thinking. New business models, new approaches, new talent, et cetera. The other piece is innovation. I'm going to share this video with you. It's Google Glass. This is starting to rocket. People are dying to get to this, but they're teasing it on social media. This is smartphone in lenses of your glasses, combined with things like social and the ability to interact, to talk, facial recognition, different things, payment, all through your glasses.
Okay, Glass, record a video.
This is it. We're on in 2 minutes.
Okay, Glass, hang out with the Flying Club.
Google photos of tiger heads.
You ready? You ready?
Right there. Okay, Glass, take a picture.
That is awesome.
Okay, Glass, record a video!
After this bridge, first exit.
Okay, so you get the sense, really progressive stuff coming. Now, let me just jump in here. I don't want you, I'm going to show you things, but I don't want you to either memorize it or think you need to do things that I'm showing you. The simple premise is Business 3.0. Your game, your candidates that you serve up, your client's desire to move forward, they have to. They're going to be fighting and kicking, or they're going to be leading the way. To shift their game, that's what I want to put in your brain. Are you inclined, leaning forward towards Business 3.0? Now I'm going to share things that then illustrate that, but that's the single premise I want you to take away. I'm going to share with you 7 drivers, right? Here's the first one. Be Steve Jobs. Now, it's convenient as an Apple fanboy, disciple of Steve Jobs, and having written a book on Steve Jobs, you'd think that I would say be Steve Jobs. But this is really about one thing that he did very well. Steve Jobs would look into the future. He'd identify 6 to 8 key vectors. He would weave them together and say, this is where it's going. This is what we're going to create that's going to solve, surprise and delight, and solve problems that people have, right? It's road mapping. It's creating a roadmap. Now that could be with your clients or helping your clients do that, but a roadmap that looks at the future and goes forward. By the way, that's a watch that is speculated to be coming, much like Google Glass. So here are a couple insights and vectors that are underneath that. Mobile tipping point. Here in the US, 65% of people have got smartphones, right? That over-indexes with young people and with people medium to high incomes. This is really important because that device is in your lifestyle and your work style and will shift everything that you do. I think you know that because you can see it happening now. Another piece, iPads and tablets. PCs are declining on share. Tablets are shooting up like this. Those are little machines that not only let you enjoy your life better, but they are shopping machines that it's unbelievable what people will buy on an iPad. And also, it's a way of training and guiding and inspiring. So there are vectors that you can look at and weave together to create a point of view of where things are going. Let me illustrate what's up here. What I'm talking about here is to identify the dynamics around you a year or 3 out that are strategically important to your business model, and then come back and feed it into your planning process. So when you go into 2014 planning with your clients and you're talking about talent, how do you bring in things like mobile, social, e-tail, e-commerce, dynamics going on around the world, emerging youth, key dynamics, and factor it into your business plan for next year and longer term. Second one, platforms and ecosystems. What I mean by this, last week there was an article in Fast Company. Mark Parker, CEO of Nike, was talking about their fuel bands that you see up here that help you understand your body dynamics and how you're burning energy, etc. But what he said was Nike is becoming a platform, not an apparel company and footwear company and into athletes, but a whole platform. And what he means by that is technology combined with those other things, plus talent and people and skill sets and partners. That's a platform. So when you're thinking about what you do with your clients, know that where they're going to be going is towards platforms. Platforms that can drive growth for the next decade. Second piece is ecosystem. Think about Apple, iTunes, going into retail, buying stuff. The whole Apple system is an ecosystem. Same thing with Google, same thing with Amazon.com. So right here, platforms and ecosystems is where it's going. How do you think about your business that way, and also what you serve up to your clients? Because that's where they're going to get to. It could be next year, or it could be 5 years from now, depending on the stance of your client. Okay? Those devices are wow. I say wow because the next one is about wow user experience. What I mean by user experience, in the mobile world, if you take an iPhone or an iPad or a Samsung Galaxy, when you play with things and they work well and you're surprised and delighted, that's user experience, UX. But what's interesting that's happening in the last 2 years is that it's going beyond smartphones and tablets. It's everything is user experience. It's the way people are describing things. Because when you see bells and whistles and gamified things, once you experience that, you want that on everything. Make my life that simple, make it fun, or at least make it intriguing. So this one is about user experience. That's the Galaxy Samsung 4 that's coming a couple months out. This happens to be something with Sony. These are multiple screens all working together. Tap with your phone, what's on your phone goes on the screen. People are watching and behaving where they've got 2 or 3 screens together, or they're seeing media and content away from home. Another one is engaging user experience content. So if you've got all this stuff that's shifting, you also need to serve up content in a different way. Let me share with you something that's really quite intriguing that's done by Lynx in Europe. And this is the kind of content that young adults are watching on their phones.
New links excite. Even angels will fall.
That's Unilever taking that kind of approach for their brands all around the world. Obviously different topics, different brands, etc. But what they're doing is they're changing their model. That stuff is intriguing for a reason. So they will then, a 19 or 18-year-old boy will see it, see multiple episodes of it, share it with their friends, Twitter, Facebook, etc. They don't even have to buy network TV. They do it all on phones through social and mobile. That's where it's shifting to. Once again, I'm not saying do this. I want you to understand that your clients are shifting the game, whatever category or industry that you're in. Next one. This one is to take user experience and reinvention and go farther. So all these things that are going on, and I say this to CEOs, I said, put the right team in the room for a week and force them, much like a hackathon with 20-year-olds on a weekend creating apps in 48 hours, put a team in a room and bust your business model. You heard it before when she was talking about business models. There are new things going on. How do you create or reinvent your business model? Bezos does this constantly, and that's why Amazon is positioned so perfectly for the future. Here's another good example. We heard it earlier talking about financial services. Reinvented business model, liquid. You've probably seen it on TV. You don't have to take your check to deposit it at an ATM or a branch. Take a photo of it and simply send it to them. And they're taking every function in banking and systematically breaking it open to gain an advantage to drive the business to the next level. The next driver, mobile and social fusion. I was doing a keynote, about 1,000 people 18 months ago at the DMA, Direct Marketing Association. And I said, let me just tell you that Facebook is lost right now. And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, if you look at Facebook, 33% of the people on Facebook are accessing Facebook via their mobile phone, their smartphone. I said, they should be a mobile company. That's where it's all going. This past September, a year later, Zuckerberg comes out with big repositioning. We are a mobile company. They came with a new app for Facebook. It turned out it became App of the Year, right? Their whole approach to marketers and to advertisers rethought around mobile. This chart shows you that this past January, the mobile access, the time on mobile passed online desktop. They are now a completely mobile company in terms of where the volume is coming from. Why? Because if you're on Facebook at home on your desktop, you're doing it 3 times a night max. But if you have it on your phone with a good app, you access it 22 times in a day. New business model shift. That's what's going on here, mobile social fusion. Okay, if you know something about Twitter, a lot of people feel it's a lot of fluff. Like, what's going on with Twitter? What, does it do anything, right? Well, it's great for spin, and it's great for customer service, and it's great for research. American Express came with something that completely upended Twitter in a positive way. I'm going to share it with you. It's called Sync. It's coming. Not my best picture. American Express has come out with something working with Twitter that creates what I call Twitter commerce.
Every day you tweet about the things you love. But what if those tweets could be more than just tweets? Now, when you sync your eligible American Express card with Twitter, tweets about the things you love can save you money on the things you love. Here's how. First, sync your eligible card with your Twitter account at sync.americanexpress.com/Twitter. Of course, your account information will be kept totally private. Then, be on the lookout for special offer hashtags. They could come from American Express or the brands and people that you're already following. Simply tweet the hashtags to have the offer loaded directly onto your synced card. Now, go use your synced card as you normally would. The savings will be applied as statement credits onto your account. No coupons, no printouts, no promo codes. It's that easy to sync, tweet, and save with American Express.
Hold on. I think it jumps. Anyhow, the reason this was important, that what they did was they connected tweets. If I have an offer on Best Buy that I see, if I tweet it, it goes out to 400 people. They take that off of Twitter, drop it in my account, much like a coupon, and all of a sudden, 30 days later, I walk into Best Buy and I go to buy something and they go, oh, by the way, you have a 20% discount. Oh, thank you very much. Where is that from? Oh, it's from your sync program when you tweeted, right? That's a Twitter commerce. It's a whole new approach that changes things. Anyhow, another piece on social, because some of you are thinking, well, that's consumer facing. I'm more B2B and enterprise. Here's a tweet that talks about any place you've got people interacting, let's say healthcare, B2B, whatever industry, if people are interacting, there's a social need that needs to come forward. Here's a great example. How many of you work with LinkedIn, are using LinkedIn exclusively? Like a lot, like big opportunity, right? Have you noticed that it's changed in the last 2 years? It's now very social. You can post things, you can share things, you can feed into LinkedIn, and all of a sudden it's working on brand you, not just a network, not just a vehicle for executive recruiters to go to. So that alone is going on here from a social and B2B standpoint. Next driver, this one's called engagement and activation technology. There is technology right here. Every phone that's being sold right now, with the exception of iPhone, has this new technology called near-field communications. Small chip inside of here can read things. You don't have to open an app. You simply touch and things pop up on your phone. Every phone going out right now has this. The reason this is important, I'm walking through Grand Central and I decide, I see that sign, I'm like, I think I'm gonna have a coffee. Tap, I'll have a skinny latte. Tap, paid for. I walk 100 feet and Patrick's skinny latte is sitting right there, already done. This is the new technology. To give you an example of how game-changing this technology is, that is the most boring category of media in a bus shelter. In the past, no one really cared about bus shelters. But if you put near-field communication, a little RFID chip, into that board, it now becomes a marketing kiosk. It becomes a place where I can tap, pick up a video, tap, pick up a coupon, tap, download an app, tap, share it with a friend. That's what's coming. And all the big players are running at this quickly. Now, I happen to be CMO and partner in the leading thin air platform, NFC platform, working with big companies like Google, Verizon, et cetera, getting this set to go big time this summer and out into 2014. I'm sharing that because that's one more shift. Here's a video of something we did with craft, and you'll see how it works in a store.
This is awesome. Technology's pretty sweet.
I love it. I seriously love it.
Impressive.
So useful. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's super simple. You just tap your phone to it, so that's it.
Okay, somebody's sitting in the back saying, yeah, that's kind of cute. My kid might do it, but I would never do it. Well, let me just tell you what's going on with female shoppers. Males too, but female shoppers. 75% of the time that they go shopping, pre, post, or during the shopping occasion, they're using smartphones or tablets. That's a giant number. That's the kind of thing that can transform all of shopping, all of retail, right? So that kind of technology in a store will change things. We did this without even putting a coupon on it. You want to know what the response was? Kraft looks for 2% of people to engage on something on a shelf. The number of people that tapped, ate the cookie with their finger, downloaded a recipe, shared it with friends, downloaded the iPhone Assistant app, or looked for other recipe, 36% of the people that tap did that. That's a giant number. That tells you what's going to happen as some of this technology works its way into retail, into media, into product. Okay? Now, here's the other piece. If you're in the financial category, you know that this is going on. You've got, this is e-wallets, you've got Google Wallet, you've got consortiums. Every major financial player is running towards e-payments because they're scared to death. I was just at a Mobile World Congress with Google. They said, Patrick, the reason everybody's freaking out right now is because our business model at Google is we're not worrying about the basis points of how much money we're going to make and how much the retailer gets. We don't care. We will take zero money on a payment coming through our phone. Matter of fact, we're willing to lose money, right? Because we are in the business of delivering ad messages, and that's our model. Now, think about the implication of that, right? The fact that everybody's trying to figure out how much money are we going to charge, like the credit card model, and here's Google over here with the operating platform willing to make zero. So look for e-payments and e-wallets that use the same technology where you tap and pay, okay? I'm going to share with you another form of technology just to show you how things are shifting. This is the angels you saw earlier, but with a different kind of engagement. It's called augmented reality.
Amazing, genuinely amazing. And the angel came out of nowhere on the screen and you could just like interact with it. Brilliant, really cool.
Now, why would they do that? Why would they spend, let's say, $5 grand or 10 grand to put that in a station? Maybe 5,000 people see it. Well, in today's world, the new business model, doing that in one station with people filming it, and social, and digital, and cyber PR, 28 million people saw that within 7 days. Right? So it's a different world. It's shifting rapidly. This piece right here, this is another phenomenon that happened this Christmas. How many people know what showrooming is? Okay, it's interesting that the shoppers know. And probably you just don't know the name, but you've done this. This past holiday, people would walk into, I'm at a Walmart, and I decided I'm going to be buying Wii U for my nephew or my son or daughter. And I look at the price and it's $300, and I go, that's a lot of money. The line's really bad over there. It's Christmas time. I tap on it or take a QR code or whatever, and I see that Amazon.com's got it for $240. I'm like, oh, that's a great price, 60 bucks, that's a lot. Tap Amazon.com, it arrives at my house tomorrow. That's showrooming. So Target and Best Buy and the other ones said, well, we don't know what to do. This is going to be a problem. So what they did was they price matched. They said, we'll match eBay and Amazon.com's price if you go to customer service. So what happened was people then went on social and Facebook and told all their friends, you need to know about showrooming and the price match. And all of a sudden people are standing in line, and they're showing what they have on Amazon.com to Best Buy, saving $60 and completely opening Pandora's box for the future. Like, there's no way you can go back from that once you're doing price matching and showrooming. Reason I'm telling you that, this is about retail and shifting the game with retail, because between what I showed you with the tap and this, all of retail's changing. But it's not just retail, it's mobile commerce and e-commerce. So, as I said to you earlier, the iPad is a rocket for shopping. People spend 3 times more money on an iPad than a regular tablet, and 4 times more than a smartphone. They love to shop on an iPad. So, no surprise, this holiday, $40 billion worth of e-commerce business, and 1/3 of it came from mobile. And that's what's going to happen big time in the next year as people buy more and more with e-wallets and tapping and showrooming, et cetera. Okay, my last driver. So if you've got all this going on where you've got digital and Facebook and people with cell phones and tapping and tweeting and all this stuff that I showed you up here, there's a data trail that goes with all of this. And it's all captured on platforms and done in a way that protects privacy. You can opt in if you want offers and stuff, right? But all of that data is 100 times bigger than what we have right now. It's a massive fire hose. So immediately the implications are every major company, every company is going to need to have a data analytics person that can manipulate this stuff and channel it into business strategies and into IT and into marketing, et cetera. And that's going on in campuses. Campuses are training people for this, right? But it also has the implication of change in business models, because once I have you on here and I know that you love to go to Starbucks and other places, I can come back to you when you're walking near a Starbucks. So it's going to change how marketing is done, because you can get to better return on investment of spending through these new tools that are coming. Okay, this is simply an illustration. You don't need to know it all, except these are things that engage you. This is the platform that holds the data and CRM and other linkages to systems that you have in your company. The top happens to be the user experience, and that happens to be your franchise. This is the model of a platform or an ecosystem that marketers are going to have to head towards. Now, many of them are doing it now, right? But that's where it's going to be. This is a summary of all of those. So, as I said, Be Steve Jobs, which is roadmap, platform, and ecosystem, which is all about thinking in a bigger way. Wow user experience, reinvented business model, mobile social fusion, engagement and activation technology, retail 3.0, and big data. Now, I could have another 7 of those up there. I just wanted to paint the picture of things are shifting. That's an opportunity for you. If you're aligned and watching your clients shift and bringing them candidates who are there. For example, if you serve up a candidate and they've got big data experience in their background and they're inclined, 3.0 inclined, wow, you're going to have win. So It's a new way to think, but it's also a way for you to think as a company, as an individual. So that's your game. Last piece, I just want to tell you that in your bag there's a book. It's called Steve Jobs and the World of Mobile. Yeah. What it's about, it's insights for the future through Steve Jobs' lens and also Google and others. It's pointing to where things are going. If you find a phone, get a phone, you tap over here on the corner, it will come to life with near-field communication, and you'll see me on a talk show talking, but it's an example of the new technology. And I just want to say thank you. It's great to be with you.
Thank you. Very interesting. Now,
thank you.
I sometimes look in the mirror in the morning and I note my lack of hair and a few other symptoms. And I'm thinking that in about 1 hour's time, I'm going to be interviewing somebody who is 30 and is in 3.0. And I recall you were a story about the Abercrombie CEO who didn't know how to deal with them. How do you think I should change to deal with that?
Well, first you need an awareness. Just the fact that you're aware that you might be 2.2 and you're going to be interviewing somebody who's 3.0, just that awareness is the first step. One of the things I said to the CEO in front of a couple thousand people, I said, if you're thinking progressively and how do you shift your game, you've got young people who are fairly inexpensive who would die to be inside of Abercrombie or Sunoco or different companies that could come in fairly inexpensively, who intuitively know mobile, social, gaming, etc. Bring them in and have a reverse mentor program. Help your mid to senior executives with mobile, social, etc., and let them mentor your young executives coming in. So that's a tactical or a program approach to it. But more importantly, it's really an awareness to say, you just need to start to shift your game, company, brands, professionals. You don't have to get there immediately, but you just need to be aware of it and moving towards it. No more questions? Oh, I see one over there. Yeah, thanks.
That was great. But where do
Thank
you
you.
see the best talent for 3.0 coming from? Is it mobile? Is it technology companies? As we're looking at other industries that are moving into this.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm seeing it a couple different places. A great place to go after is, let's say, Google, Facebook, all the bigger companies have got a lot of talent that intuitively they know it because they're living it. And if they've got 10,000 people or 80,000 people, there's one place. Also in startups, but not people who came right out and into startups, but people who came out that have some sound business background, that might be 5 years, and then have gone off and working in a startup or some form of digital agency or someplace getting closer to it. So that's one place I would look at, is kind of the startups or the medium-sized companies that are in and around the big players. And also, young people that are coming out of school and graduate schools. I mean, there are a lot of people that are being trained down at that level in their 20s that know it intuitively, and they're not expensive. Anyhow, I don't know if that helps.
Dennis?
Yeah, I was thinking about our work and daily work, and you mentioned lots of technology advances that we can see, and I was imagining tagging a candidate and sending this resume to a client, but you still need the soft touch that maybe is not there, because if I tag something and the coffee, somebody has to make the coffee, and you know what I mean? Where's the soft touch in this trends that
it's a really good point, and it's interesting that there is a human touch. For every push and pull, there's a response. So for the social side and all of the digital content and interaction, there's a human side that's also coming back, where people are saying, how do we bring that back in? I'll give you an example. You know, it's been do it yourself for the last 15 years. There's one trend that's coming in the next year or two, which is do it together. And that's about the human touch, right? So if I'm working on something, I'm looking for the heart and the emotion in what you do. And then if you're delivering it through the pipes, right, that's okay, but figure out a way to lead with the heart of the brand, the company, the experience. And if it's your candidate, you want to bring them across the right way. How do you do that in a real way, but also do it in a smart way? So, you know, for example, interviewing on FaceTime is not a great example, but in other words, you want your candidates and their personality and everything that makes them special, but you still want to interact with your clients in a way that's in touch with the technology, you know?
So quick question, how we have clients, they want 3.0 talent. They're in legacy businesses that are transforming, but the cost of that talent is so different if they're a proven leader in the digital space. How do you help the CEOs and the boards get over that that cost differential between their legacy employees and bringing in this new talent?
I don't.
Or do you really face that or get into that?
I'm not sure. I mean, because there are a lot of people. I'll give you an example. In the world of apps and games, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, there weren't many people that could develop apps. Now, everybody's doing apps. So people know mobile and gaming design, et cetera. Let's say that was a skill set that you were looking for. There are a lot of people that you can get to, and I don't think they're necessarily going to be a premium. They're younger. They may only have 3-4 years experience, but that's a lot in the areas that we're talking about. Bringing them into the organization, and if you've got the right value proposition, the right hook with your company, you can bring them in. You know, if they come in as a digital manager or the mobile manager. So I'm not sure that it's going to necessarily be expensive. If you want the CTO coming out of Google, different story, right?
Well, there's a talent in between what you just described in the CTO of Google, and there is I mean, we face it every day. I'm going to have a conversation tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and I know, that's going to be, it's like I want a leather couch, but I want to pay a pleather price, and it just doesn't happen. And really trying to help them understand that if you really, truly, I'm talking about the leadership talent, not the doer talent.
Not the doer, okay.
And it's been an interesting, conversation over the last 24 months of helping them, get there.
Well, at that level, I do agree with you, because as we look for CTOs or CIOs to come in to work on major initiatives, they've got so many options because there aren't many CTOs. Right. And you've got every corporation, if they're smart, they've got their CTO or CIO that are also linked at the hip with their CMO. That was never done in the past, but in the last 4 or 5 years you have to. So there's demand for that talent. So yes, that is a challenge. And I just think that, I don't know how to fix that, much like the group earlier was talking about talent. And I don't know what the fix is for that, but I see that shortage at that level.